Hi, and welcome back to the FreeFormKnits YouTube channel. I'm Haxann, I'm a knit and crochet with FreeFormKnits and crafting. I've left the world to design. All the places you can find me listed right down below this video. This is my channel which is about knitting, crochet, all the fun crafty stuff. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. This is a podcast episode. Who knows? I have no idea. I don't think I've done one of these in nearly a month now. I did not mean for that to happen. Time just got away from me. To be fair, February is a short month, which I know that, and yet it always surprises me when it ends on the 28th. We were in March. It's actually March 1st, the time of filming this, so I have quite a lot to share with you today, and I'm very excited to talk about all things crafty. So if you are, as you don't already, have a project out, a drink, whatever, and let's just talk about all the crafty things. I honestly don't know where to start. There's quite a bit. I once again hit a bit of a wall with my crafting in the sense that I just didn't know where I was with anything. I'm actually this year keeping a crafting journal. I've talked about this in other podcast episodes, and I didn't really like fill it out in the month of February, and I only just now before filming this filled it out. I'm actually, I feel back on track, and now I'm going to go over everything I finished with you, and hopefully be back on like fully on track. But I did want to share my stats for the month of February, so I'm actually quite pleased with myself. Once again, like the things I managed to finish, because I was feeling like I wasn't finishing anything. So this project journal, I have other videos here on my channel about this if you are interested in how I'm doing this, but just quickly to go over it, I finished in the month of February 4 things. I finished 5 things. I finished 3 shawls, 1 sock, 1 pair of socks, and 1 hat, and I casted on a total of new things, 6 things. So I'm quite pleased with that. I go through periods of time where I feel like I'm casting on a bunch of things and not finishing anything, so it's really refreshing when I look back and realize, oh no wait, I have kind of an even amount. I finished 5 things total, and I casted on 6 new projects. So it's not like I casted something on and finished it right away. Sometimes that's the case, but not always. But it feels good. I gotta admit, it feels very good to know that that I was able to do that. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to share, just because so often with our crafting, I feel like we put these goals and these, you know, aspirations on ourselves, but really it's just whether or not you're having fun with it. And I see that, and it reminds me that I'm where I want to be with my crafting. So yeah, that's really all I want to say about the month of February. Let's talk about some finished objects. So one of those finished objects, actually I talked about this last podcast. It was technically finished, but I'm counting it in the month of, I think last time I podcasted it was February, and I was sharing my January stats. This project I did mostly in the month of January, but I finished it in February, and I talked about it last podcast. I actually had a revelation about it on that podcast episode, and it is my Lamia wrap. So this is a pattern by TLY Yarn Crafts. It's a great Tunisian crochet project. I love this project so much. I did a hack to it. I made it shorter than it was originally intended. I turned it into a little cowlette, because I had some concerns about the gauge, and I simply just bound it off. I probably should have done this patterning like it's called for in the pattern to do it at the end, but I didn't want to do that. So I just bound it off and then simply seamed it closed. So it's like a very simple cowl. And I really love it. I love the color. I love this yarn in the Arctic Ice colorway. And I Tunisian crocheted this on a 6.5 millimeter. Knitpicks is having a sale for their individual hooks and needles, so I think I'm going to get around to ordering a few bigger size Tunisian hooks, because that was my real biggest problem with this project. Just my gauge is just not what I was looking for in a shawl. But it was such a fun crochet, beautiful stitch pattern, and super simple. I love it so much. And then my seam is not the prettiest. Actually, I think I was very lazy with my seam. Like it's tidy, but it's very chunky. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, so this is a finished object. It was mostly done. I think I did it after that podcast. I literally sat down and just seamed it closed. And yeah, so that is the first finished object. Second finished object was actually, I think I was working on last podcast, and it is just a simple ribbed beanie. This yarn is Yarn Bee Baby Bee Sweet Delight Prince, I think. I don't know the colorway name, but it's just a simple 2x2 rib on forever. I don't typically make ribbed beanies, but I just really wanted a light DK weight beanie. I love the look of the rib. I crocheted, I won't put this on actually. My hair is up, but it's like in a bun and there are flyaways, so it looks crazy, but oh well, we'll go in with it. I crocheted a ribbed beanie, a crochet rib beanie, and I really love the fit of it, but doing ribbing is just not my favorite thing in the world. So it was quite a slog. I'm quite proud of, I tried something new for the decreases. They kind of fade in. I'm not 100% happy with them, but they get the job done. That's been my struggle with beanies in the past, to do a gradual decrease. I usually just do a rapid decrease because I'm lazy, but I'm pretty happy with this. So that is another finished object. And then the next two finished objects you've never seen as works in progress, I think. So there's this pair of socks, and I held onto the tag and now I don't have the tag. So this is just a pair of Knit Bleachy socks. I want to say Arcade Afternoon is the colorway. No, that wouldn't be. That was a different colorway. I have no idea. So I used a Yarn Bee Mini for the heels, toes, and cuffs. And actually, so I have, when I get Knit Bleachy, I just get the 150-gram skein and then I pair it with a mini. And in the past, I've been, to make them match 100%, I have been knitting them only like about to here. They're a lot shorter. I've been making them. But I was watching the We Share Needles podcast. I love the podcast. It's here on YouTube. And one of the hosts of the podcast, she talked about how she also knits only with a 50-gram ball of Bleachy. And she was just showing her long pair of self-striping socks. And so I was inspired to do a long pair. I decided, you know, the reason I wasn't doing a long leg was because then the colors wouldn't match. The colors wouldn't match up. The repeat would be off. So I just wanted to really make a long pair of vanilla socks, get the vanilla knitting a bit longer. And so I said I'm going to do that for this pair. And I'm not sure how. I was not planning it, but they match almost perfectly. They're like one row off. You can see on the heels. They are one row off. I don't know how this happened. I did not plan it. I fully expected them to be off completely. So I don't know. It's very funny to me how this happened, and I'm quite proud of it. So yeah, I thought that was really funny. In the past, it doesn't bother me when self-striping socks don't match. It bothers me when they are so close to matching. But I did not care for this pair because I just wanted to make a long pair of vanilla socks, and yet they match perfectly. And I don't know, I'm really like, I want to say I'm proud of it, but I truly did not plan it at all and can't take credit for it. Unless I just instinctively knew where to break the yarn when I was finishing the leg. I have no idea. It's so weird and it's really funny. And I'm sure the next pair of self-striping socks I make, I will probably try and match them and fail because intentions, you know? I don't know. It's so funny to me. So this pattern is my shortcut heel toe-up sock, my toe-up shortcut heel sock recipe. It's available in my Ravelry Shop. It's got my shortcut heel. I did it in stockinette. Very simple heel with no short rows required. And I did my sewn bind off. So yeah, I really love just having a full pair of socks done instead of, I was doing the short pair. So that is another finished object, and the last finished object I have, I'm super excited about. So I have been wanting to use up my finger weight scraps. I had accumulated quite a bit of finger weight scraps over the time. Again, I've talked about before just about I kind of have a tendency to hoard my finger weight scraps because I want to use them for socks, but I have a bunch now that I had used in socks, just weren't enough for a full pair, all that stuff. So I wanted to use it up, and what I ended up doing was going in my stash and getting some gray I had in there and holding a bunch of finger weight yarn double with a strand of DK. I just grabbed and went, and I created this beautiful shawl. So the asymmetrical shape, I used my 4 crochet shawl constructions, the asymmetrical shape within that for the basis of this shawl, and I used a crochet moss stitch for the texture. This was so much fun to make. It was so fast, such a great rhythm. I used a 5.5mm hook, so that with the stranded DK and fingering just created this amazing gauge. It's so nice. It's the perfect length. It's like my wingspan. That's what I find like a good rule of thumb for shawls, to make it at least your wingspan. I love it so much. I will say I do think like how I picked my colors, I literally would just lay it out in my lap and just take a mini and just see if I liked it like right off the bat next to another color. I tried not to color plan too much. I get too much, if I think too much about color, I get carried away and don't fully enjoy the scrappiness of a project. So I tried not to like put any pressure on that point. I will say I think I used too many dark colors down here, so I kind of lost this modeled effect up here, but it's just a fun scrappy project. I'm so happy with it. I think what I want to do is film a tutorial, like just kind of walking through what I did for it, in terms of like holding the yarn double, getting the stitch pattern established. It's such a great pattern. So much fun to use up scraps like that. You know, you have these little tiny balls of yarn that you don't know what to do with, and it's enough that it could be used for something, but not necessarily like a perfect stripe in a blanket. It's just really fun to just use up every scrap of yarn, and I don't know. And literally I just magic knotted when I run out of a scrap, I magic knotted a new scrap in. So yeah, I'm just super happy with this. It's awesome. It's so nice, and it's just like the great length and the great weight for a shawl around your neck. Like the gauge is just perfect. So I'm really happy with this. Now we are going to move on into works in progress. So here's one work in progress that is almost done. I just have to, I don't even remember when I started this. It's been sitting in a basket because I need to like lay it out and plan it out. I'm finally trying to make a garment. I have been trying to make a garment for myself for months now. I just get in these slumps with making garments from that. I don't know. I start the project and I frog it. I don't know what is wrong, but I wanted to do like a drop shoulder cardigan, and I have literally the back done, the front panel, the next front panel. All I have to do is lay it out, sew it up, and come up with a plan for the sleeves. I don't know why I haven't done that. And I also, like, I have enough to do. I want to do like a nice ribbing. I don't know why I haven't done that. It's just been sitting in a basket. Like, it requires like maybe 20 minutes of thought and seaming before I can just finish it. So yeah, I don't know why it's just sitting here. The yarn is, I love this yarn in just this hot pink colorway. Just had this sweater quantity sitting and it needed to be worked up. Yeah, I don't know why. I keep looking at it in my basket, and I just have not dedicated the time to lay it out and seam it up. And I really want to do that because I think I love the look of the drop shoulder construction. I know that I love how it wears, how it just like falls on my body. It's a good construction style for me, and I like the look. However, making drop shoulder constructions is not my favorite process. Like, it's a very simple process. It's arguably one of the easiest sweater constructions and cardigan constructions to do, but just something about the process of it is just not enjoyable to me. I don't know what it is, and yet I have my own problems with doing, you know, top-down raglans or set-in sleeves and all that, and circular yokes, all these other things. So yeah, I don't know. I'm in a sweater hump and I need to get out of it, and I need to finish this because I would love it, I'm sure. And the thing is, you make more sweaters, and that's the only way you're going to figure out what you like and what you don't like. Like, if I make a drop shoulder sweater, a cardigan, I will love it enough that it will motivate me to make more regardless of how I feel about the process, because I love the finished object so much. But that's a work in progress, and I really want it to be finished, but not necessarily enough to work on it at the moment. So, okay. Some more current works in progress. This one I casted on, again, I guess kind of on the sweater train. I really just wanted to make a sweater. I have these skeins of DK in my stash. There aren't enough to make a sweater for me necessarily. But I have this Baby Bee Sweet Delight Plum Pudding colorway, which is this beautiful purple. And I am using a pattern for this, but I have to say I'm not particularly in love with the pattern. It's not very clear. How they do their stitch pattern is not my favorite. I mean, I don't know. It's called the Flow Seamless Yoked Girl Cardigan. I don't know who it's by, but that's a picture. I've made a lot of modifications to it. First of all, I messed up the stitch pattern. When I started doing the stitch pattern, I recognized it. I've done this stitch pattern before, but I messed it up. So now it's just like this textured mess. I had to do my own numbers for the separation for the sleeve because I was not getting the numbers they called for. The way they did their increases too was interesting to me. Like they didn't have you increase like evenly around the yoke. I don't know, even though it's a circular yoke. So now I'm kind of not following the pattern. I'm just doing the body, and I'll do the sleeves however I want. Really just to have a quick little knit is all I was aiming for with this. It is a free pattern. You can check it out. Maybe you'll be able to make more sense of it than I was. Just the way that I think what tripped me up is like they have abbreviations for like do the stitch pattern, which the information for is on a different page, or do stockinette, but they abbreviated the stockinette. It's not stockinette. It's just really confusing, so I didn't particularly enjoy that. I'd rather have it written out row by row. You know, I don't know, but actually I'm going to take that out of my bag so I don't keep crinkling the paper. But that's a work in progress I've been working on. It's in this bag that I made years ago, and it's got all my knitting pins on it that are now rusting from age. Another work in progress, I don't think I shared this, I am crocheting another amigurumi toy from this book, Unicorns and Dragons and More Amigurumi. I am crocheting Pinch the Goblin right there. He's awesome. And I actually made quite a bit of progress on this the other night, a while ago now. I've done his head, his body, I actually dropped my hook, his body and his ears. I actually wanted to stuff his ears and head so that it looked like I made more progress and would motivate me more. I have not done that yet. I also have to get his nose. So he really is missing just legs and arms. And his bag. He's actually closer than I thought to being done now that I'm thinking about it. So that's another thing I need to work on. I really need to, as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about my crafting journal, I'm kind of thinking I need to make some goals for myself this month to get some of these long-standing whips off my needles, because I casted this on back in January. And Pinch deserves to be done. He deserves to be done and be sitting on my couch. I have some of the stuffed animals I've made from that book like lining the back of the couch, and he deserves to be there too. Like, he needs to be. That's another work in progress. I have in the same vein as self-striping socks, I a long time ago casted on, so I would make me self-striping socks with just the 1 skein of Felici. Then I would have just a little bit of nugget of yarn left and self-striping, like almost a whole self-striping repeat. So what I decided to do with my self-striping yarns is I knit them up into a cowl, and I've made one of these before in the past, and here it is. So I just cast on and I just knit with a self-striping scrap, and I now have quite a bit of new scraps in, so I've been adding in some new stripes. This is a Felici sock I made a little bit ago. There's some pattern quarry stripes in here. I I tried to like even them out when I first started this, like do a Felici scrap, patterns crochet, Felici, patterns crochet, you know. So just round and round knitting, and I have quite a bit of, I don't think you can see, I don't want them to fall out, quite a bit of self-striping socks. So you can see, like I could have gotten a really long pair of socks, a longer pair of socks out of this, but I have like almost maybe 2 whole repeats left in here. So I'll put them in this cowl and it'll be really cute. Last work in progress, I started really spur of the moment. So I am really excited this year to be making more shawls. You've seen I made that crochet shawl and linear wrap. I was looking at my stash, again in the vein of having these random skeins of DK in my stash. I was looking through my stash at these skeins of DK, thinking about what I could make with them. And I remembered many years ago, I made this shawl. I don't know if I have the original sample. I will try and find it for my next episode, but I made this shawl years and years ago. And not only that, I wrote up the pattern. When I say I wrote up the pattern, so I have been knitting since I was 9 years old. And I think when I was like 10 or 11, I started like writing patterns. Like the reason I call myself a freeform knitter here on YouTube and Instagram is because I didn't really have easy access to like Ravelry and stuff and patterns. So if I wanted to make something, I had to freeform it. I had to come up with it on my own. I had to figure things out. And so that's what I did. And I wrote patterns, but not like row by row instructions. I would like have these like more accurately called recipes. So I'm looking at these skeins of DK in my stash, remembering that shawl, and kind of spur of the moment, I went through my computer and I found a recipe for this shawl I made years and years ago. And so what I've been doing is I took the recipe that my younger self had typed up and everything, and like decoded it into a proper like row by row instruction pattern, and now I'm remaking that shawl and it's been really fun. I'm really excited about this. So I have the first section done. It is a crescent shaped shawl and it will have this texture section and this stripe section. It has been so much fun. I'm doing it in these blues. The yarn is again Yarn Bee, Baby Bee. These 2 different colorways. I don't have the ball bands, but I love it. It's been such a nice knit. I'm using a 7 needle, US 7. It's been mostly garter so far, but I'm now on the texture section, and I'm just so excited about this. I'm kind of like really like happy that I found that like pages document in my computer, and I'm kind of surprised at my my past self who wrote up this recipe, and quite proud of how I managed to turn that into an actual readable pattern that other people will be able to read. Like my instructions were just like knit 5 ridges, 10 rows of this section, and stuff like that, not like how to maintain the increases. So it's really funny to like look back and see how you've evolved as a crafter, as a pattern writer and everything. I'm really happy about that. So I'm really excited, and I've been loving this knit. I'm really happy to be back into knitting shawls and things. Just happy to be making shawls and everything again. I used to make them a lot, but now I don't, and to get back into it and just really experiment with stripes and stitch patterns, it's just so much fun. So I love this eyelet section and how I put some stripes in there. I don't know, it's really fun. Hopefully I can find that old sample shawl. I have an idea of where it should be, so, and I'll share that next time because it's quite, I know I still have it. Yeah, it's just really exciting. It's really exciting to come up with an idea, and then, you know, you never know when it's gonna like come into play. I have these 2 skeins of DK, and they're gonna make this really great shawl that I came up with years and years ago. Yeah, it's just really exciting. It's really exciting. Different patterns and different goals of each pattern, you know, like this pattern teaches you a stitch pattern, this pattern uses up these 2 skeins of DK. It's really fun. So that is all of my knitting and crochet this week. I'm sorry if it sounded a little rambly. I have not done this in a while. Yeah. a little out of practice, but that is okay. Hopefully I will come back to you soon with some other videos on the channel. I've been a little bit busy just with, sorry, this was laying on the floor and bothering me. A little bit busy with school and stuff. Truthfully, I'm procrastinating a couple of assignments right now. That's partly why this got filmed. So I need to go do that. Thank you so much for joining me. If you could, take a moment and comment down below something you are working on. I would love to hear all about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Happy crafting!